All right, so here is a game by Rob. I'll go ahead and run Stream Raiders off stream, by the way, since we're about to start. So you've got your Prinz Rupprecht Tier 9 German battle cruiser line. Very fun line of ships to grind up. And already I'm seeing a concern. You don't have the hull upgrade?
Don't think I realized I had what it took to get that one.
Okay. Obviously, the hull upgrade gets you, generally speaking, of course, it will get you more hit points. It also gets you a faster rudder shift, both of which are very important in this particular ship line. Oftentimes, you can also get better anti-air with it as well. So, all right. For your upgrades here, your modules, whatever you want to call them, you're using auxiliary mod. Why are you using auxiliary mod here?
I think I was trying to increase the survivability of my secondaries.
Okay. So the problem with that, I mean, and that's perfectly fine if you want to make sure your secondaries survive. The problem with that is, if you look at main armaments modification 1, do you notice that your torpedo tube survivability is buffed? So what I'm getting at is, in a torpedo armed battleship, I would probably run main armaments over auxiliary just to make sure my torpedoes live to the point where I can use them when I absolutely need them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I hate when I go to use my torpedoes and then torpedo tube's destroyed. I'm like, son of a, you know what I mean? So that's why I think main armaments mod 1 is your better pick there. But I mean, that's fine if you've been getting success this way. Were you gonna say something?
No.
All right. Then you've got damage control, secondary mod. Yep. Okay. And the other damage control, sure. And then concealment. Okay. Aux mod again. Fine. You can do aux mod again. Alternately, I might recommend main battery mod 3 over aux mod just because secondaries, while fun, will never really do as much damage as your main battery. So having your main battery reload quicker, in my opinion, is probably a better choice than aux mod. But again, it's up to you how you want to run it. Aux mod does do something for subs, doesn't it? No. Thought it did. Never mind. Now, let's get to the real beef and potatoes of what we're talking about here. You've got Lutyens, you said. You have missed the most important, in my opinion, commander skill for the German battlecruiser line. Which one is that? What do you think? Did I stump you? Chat, what do you guys think? What's the most important skill? Fire prevention. Nope. Philip got it, in my opinion. In my opinion. Cookie, I agree with you too. I feel preventative maintenance is so important. No one told me there'd be a quiz. In my opinion, and again, this is my opinion. Others can disagree. Preventative maintenance is incredibly helpful with Lutyens because this buff takes from 30% to 45% risk of modules becoming incapacitated. This, along with main armaments mod 1, helps keep your torpedoes alive much longer so that you can use them when you need them. On a destroyer, this is like a no-brainer. On a cruiser that's got torpedoes, kind of a no-brainer. Probably a no-brainer because you can lose engines and rudder too. Battleship, you get a little bit less use out of it, but I still feel this is really handy for keeping your guns in action and keeping your torps in action. But in any case, you ran demolition to buff your secondaries, right?
Yeah, and I just added preventative maintenance because I had enough points for that.
Cool. Okay. So you can tell us later when you play the ship more. Are you noticing you're not losing torpedoes as much? So You've got demolition expert. You've got grease the gears. Sure. Long range secondaries. Yep. Okay. Fine. So you just basically went for a manual secondaries build. Concealment is nice because it drops your concealment down quite a bit. Where is it? Here it is. 12.24 base concealment. So basically, if you can be, you can, if you're detected, you can shoot them. Okay, Stevie, hold on. Stevie got his food in again, so he wants on the lap again. There we go. Any case, so I mean, this is fine. This is a fine commander build at 14 points. I mean, 15 now that you just picked that up, right? So let's talk about your remaining 6. Where would you want to go for your remaining 6? I think Adrenaline Rush is a no-brainer. But the problem if you do that, you lose the ability to use fire prevention. Which you're gonna kind of lose anyway, I guess, if you're being a secondary spec ship. But okay. I would probably do Adrenaline Rush. Brisk can be very handy for getting you into and out of positions, utilizing your concealment. Alternately, if you find yourself eating a lot of torpedoes, Vigilance would be kind of more helpful. It stacks with Hydroacoustic, which is really nice. And then 1 point skill, I don't know, Emergency Repair Specialist, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That's not so important. Let's take a look at your signal flags. Oh my god, you are not wearing protection, sir. Risky.
I love the mystery. Well, I'm gonna detonate. Apparently.
You love the mystery? Okay. T-Bone, Adrenaline Rush, really that worth it with only 0.1 gain? It's 0.1 gain. It's 0.2% reload reduction for every 1% of your hit point loss. So as you take more damage, it becomes more effective. If you're playing a ship that is going to be pushing and getting into danger and being shot at a lot, Adrenaline Rush becomes even more handy. It buffs your secondaries, it buffs your torpedoes, it buffs your main guns. I think it also buffs your anti-air, but I can't remember. Exactly, SAT says. If you lose 50%, if you're at half health, you gain 10% extra reload time. All your ships get shot at a lot. See, Stalwart, so you're getting good use out of Adrenaline Rush. Now, there's a French commander, the Enrays, that have buffed Adrenaline Rush. So that's even handier in those situations. Okay, so anyways. Juliet Charlie, you're playing with fire, but okay. Makes sense. You're welcome. You've chosen HE. You didn't do the other one. You've got okay.
I just started as like the recommended ones, if I remember correctly.
You just okay. These were the ones that were recommended. Okay. I would not run Sierra Bravo. I don't feel like you need Sierra Bravo. This gives you 10% extra uptime for your hydroacoustic search. The problem with that is it's helpful when you do your first push into an enemy, right? If you know you're going into danger, you can pop it and now you've got 10% extra uptime for your hydro. But the chances are that that extra 10% isn't really going to get you much. Think about it. If you go into battle and you're charging a destroyer or something else that's got torpedoes, right? They're going to kite away from you and run. They're going to dump their torpedoes. And then they're either going to die or it's going to take, the full amount of time for those torpedoes to reload before before they fire those torpedoes at you again. And the hydroacoustic search that you've got, helps you. So if you think about it, this actually hurts you because it takes you that amount of time longer to be able to use your hydro again. Let's take a look at it. Your hydroacoustic search Your action time is 2 minutes, 121 seconds, with a 114-second cooldown. So almost a 2-minute cooldown. Okay. So let's drop this. And now your hydroacoustic is up for 110 seconds. So that's 11 seconds shorter. But that means that your consumable expires 11 seconds earlier, which means you can use the next hydroacoustic search 11 seconds sooner. That could mean the difference between life or death if you go in, use your hydro, and then it's down at that moment when you absolutely need it. Just something to think about. Other flanks that you've got selected, recovering from flood is fine. Heal is fine. Fire extinguishing is fine. Pausing flooding, chance of flooding and fire is fine. Okay. And then you've got speed, secondaries, consumables. All of this is good stuff. I would probably just run Juliet Charlie instead to make sure you don't detonate. Because this one would be nice, but if you notice, you increase the chances of your magazine blowing up by an extra 5% by running this. So it's like you're just pouring gasoline all over everything and saying, let's hope everything's okay. So, all right, are we good, Rob?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's take a look at your replay. And of course, I derped and did not load the replay. Go figure. All right. Chat, any other questions about commander builds while the replay is going up? Did I forget to run stream? I ran it. I forgot to start the next one. Let me get that going. There we go. Good. Game loadeth. Do you die in this one?
I think I do.
All right. Since you said you think, I'll take a early on screenshot just to be safe. Naked? Naked Rupprecht. All right. Here we go. You are middle tier. Hey, NC fan. Welcome back. You are middle tier. There are 2 Schlieffens. New Marlborough, Massachusetts. Don't have too much to worry about in the battleship category. Brisbane, Minotaur, Azuma, Alaska, Atago, Ignacio. There's a lot of torpedo-armed cruisers over there to worry about. Alaska, if you show broadside 2, is going to be a problem. Zuma can burn you down. Shimakaze is running 20-kilometer torpedoes according to the mod. Stevie's not happy with me because I keep working out his knots. Down here. He doesn't like this one. I think he's moving a little bit. Okay, I'll stop. But there's this one right here. He's got so many knots on him. He doesn't really clean himself that much anymore. Rob, so why don't you talk us through your initial deployment? Why are you heading this direction? What are your goals? That sort of thing.
I think I'm trying to put myself in a position where I could basically try to hold off the flank.
Okay.
I'm also not entirely sure, like, where their Shima is, although looking at where ours spawned in, there's probably over on that side.
Okay. There's a 50-50 chance that the Shima will end up on your side, right? So, I would say that the side that you're on is kind of not so much the push side. It's more of a hold side for now until you know where their Shima is.
And another thing is, I'm trying to put myself in a position where I can shoot at them a little bit easier as well.
Yep. Time out. Did you see what just happened? 2 big things just happened. How big knot here, Stevie? First thing that happened, A started getting captured. Second thing that happened, you're detected. So, who do you think's in A?
Most likely a destroyer or a particularly fast cruiser.
It's gotta be the Shima. A cruiser, if it's in A, is probably going to be detected by that Yoshino at this point. So, it's most likely going to be that Shima. So what you had said earlier about the chances are the Shima's on the other side of the map because that's where yours spawned, as you can see, didn't pan out. Okay,
Full use of that 360 turret.
Oh, wait a second. It was the Atago. Look at that. And it's unfortunate you didn't notice that and shot the Alaska. But I mean, I get it. The Alaska showed up. Yoshino is in trouble. I can't believe that Atago ended up there. You're right about a very fast cruiser.
I've seen a rash of cruiser Atagos just being extra aggressive for whatever reason.
Huh, okay.
Recently.
Well, it's got a heal, so he probably figures he can do that. If he's bottom tier like he is in this game, I don't know why you would do that, but okay. Oh, also there's only one destroyer, so maybe he felt like he could be the destroyer. Either way, I got the Yoshino killed. Oh, look, game rewards. But yeah, you see, you're definitely the whole flank now. I mean, look at all the enemies there. You're definitely the whole flank.
Yeah, I've made. I think at this point I've made the decision that I was probably gonna try to kite. Although, I say that and I'm turning in.
I was just about to mention that. Okay, Shimakaze is on the other flank. He's detected now. Ah, he's playing the typical 20-kilometer Shimakaze. Stay way, way, way in the back and just vomit torpedoes. Maybe let's try this knot. What do you think about this one? Huh? You're okay with it so far. You're
like
kind of...
art off torpedoes as something. I don't actually remember what I found them at.
Well, I was going to mention the Iwami. We were talking in the last game about being in a kiting away position and everything. The Iwami is stuck bow in, which is really bad for him. You almost got there, but now you're forced to make that kind of game return in front of all those other battleships. And because you don't have any of the detected commander skills, you don't know if people are going to shoot at you or not. Alright, there's your torps on the Schlieffen. Oof.
Just why I'm sort of... Yeah, which is why I'm sort of going behind the design, because I'm just sort of assuming I'm being shot at this point.
And that's the problem when you don't have priority target or incoming fire alert, right? Is you have to make those assumptions because you can't see the ships that could be shooting at you. If you're in the open water, you can at least look for the gun plume and stuff. But all right, well, in any case, you've lost 2 ships early on, but at least you guys, your team has pushed through sea pretty easily. Now, for kiting away, generally, I say you want to go to the corner, but if you look at it, your Yamato is kiting away to the corner. So I like this decision to switch your guns and start kiting towards the middle as you leave. Ignacio in Bravo. Nice hit there, 25,000.
So, actually, somewhat unrelated to this particular match, but in a previous match of my Minnesota, I actually dev struck one of those that were almost at full health with the marble.
And by the way, you just got smacked in the process there. Turned way too much to that Schlieffen. And Ignacio is available, but you're not noticing that. Ouch. Rip your Brandenburg.
Of course, the second I fire, the Atago shows up.
Well, I mean, you had two better choices: the Atago if you had waited, or the Ignacio if you were noticing him on the mini map. Also, oh, your torps are not up for another 20 seconds. Once they are up, you might as well luck chuck them towards the Atago. All right, everybody's dark. There you go. There's the Ignacio. I would slow down here. You don't need to go full speed. Slowing down encourages the enemy to catch up to you and just start banging away. With you going full speed, you get to the point where you give a broadside to the enemy like you're doing right now. Or you have to turn all the way around to engage. So that's why you're better off stopping and reversing. Sleefin is backing up if you look at his smokestacks.
Yeah, but I noticed that he looked to be slowing down, so I figured I was just a little bit ahead of mass because he looked like he's gonna go forward.
Okay. It didn't look like it to me. Yeah, I think he just overpenned the bow on him, but who knows? He's still reversing.
I think he slowed down a little bit, and that threw me off.
Yeah, but he did continue reversing, so. In any case. Now see where you are right now? Look how far away you are. You can't really do much without turning back around and exposing your broadside in doing so. Again, that's why the slowing down, backing up is better for kiting away behavior. Right, SAT, exactly. You don't need to run that far away. In theory, Chad, if you guys are ever unsure how far to run, look at your teammates, and you want to draw a straight line with your teammates if you can. So that means that he should be about here. Rob should be about here right now. Renty suggests, yeah, make use of the right mouse button to free look after you shoot. See if there's a better target for you to hit. Make sure your mini-map is large too so you can see stuff. You're not going to hit him. And now that you're behind the Kremlin, you're not able to do, you're not able really to do much until you can get into the middle of the map or something. I love how that Atago is just trash talking everybody. Probably gives you an idea as to that person's age. At the very least, their maturity.
I usually up and on basis of there's no way of knowing one's age based on that behavior, especially online.
I can't swim, you like this? Thanks for the instructive approach. That's the whole reason we're here, baby. Nice, you saw the Schlieffen, you're ready for it. You notice the Atago, by the way, went in. He fired torpedoes up the channel, and then he went in. Now, I'm gonna pause the replay for a second here. Rob, where do you think the Massachusetts, Alaska, and Schlieffen are?
A1?
Literally on the land. I mean, with the Yamato there, my assumption is they've got two choices. They could chase the Yamato and go to, like, say, Charlie 1-2 or something like that. Or option 2 is they go right into the middle of the map. So if you're going to push forward here, this is kind of a decision point. I wanted to highlight this for everybody. If you're going to make this decision here, if you're going to go forward, you could potentially pose your flank to those three ships that are moving up the one line. So you have to be prepared for that. At the same time, if those guys went mid, you're putting yourself in a fantastic situation where you can torp the living daylights out of all of them. So, personally, at this point, I'd probably just go straight in, especially since the Kremlin's doing absolutely nothing. The Yamato's got nobody to shoot at. At the very least, you going in gets the Yamato somebody to shoot at. The Kremlin has an idea of who he's facing, so he or she feels more comfortable going forward and, you know, doing Kremlin things. Let's see what you do.
Well, before I even make a decision, I'd see if the Yamato's even spotted.
That's true. That's true. Yamato is not.
That should give you some sort of indication that either they're behind the island or they did cut mid.
That's right, and it looks like they cut mid. And the reason that's important is, Rob, you decided to go down the channel on the other side. Problem with this is it's going to put you out in the middle of the map in front of all of these guys that probably went mid, plus the other Schlieffen. That's pain. That's a recipe for pain. That's why I think going this way would have been better. Go to Delta 4, curl in A, you get behind him or something like that. Whatever.
Also, you'll have all that PR to yourself.
That's right. Atago's about to die, so we'll see what his red PR and trash talking does, like SAT said.
Make everybody hurt dumber.
Woohoo! Did I download your... I did. And get the render ready.
Torpedos direkt voraus.
Oh, there it is. Finally got to a Zumo while struggling with the Magi dispersion. Time to struggle with the Zumo. You won't struggle with the Zumo dispersion, Pac. Zumo is chef's kiss of that line, in my opinion. Fantastic shell arcs and tightness and all that. I could be your instructor. I actually am in a clan already. I'm in Kraken. You hated a Zumo? You've heard better insults on Xbox. Yeah, that's the best place to get all the gamer words.
Oh, the good old days of Call of Duty.
So why did you come out straight wide to where all the enemies could be?
I think I forgot to turn.
Yeah, I think so too.
If I'm honest, I think I was...
All right, well, you are supplying us with a death pick, so thank you for that. And look, all of those ships went mid. And now, I'm going to pause it for a second, Rob. Look at D4 right now. Like I had mentioned earlier, if you had gone the other way, went to D4, you would have come out right behind all three of those guys.
And you probably wouldn't have taken a Citadel or two.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's the other thing, right? If you're coming where you came from, that's where they're all looking. They're all expecting you to come from there. They had their shots ready to go. And look, Lutyens rocks just as you die. Oh my god, look at this. Not only do you die in the middle, you also blocked your Shimakaze's torpedoes. You blocked his entire salvo. You can also go to sea and defend the light cruiser. What's a Brisbane and Marlborough gonna do to you? That's a good point.
Burn them.
Well, here we go. Here's our death pick.
I don't know if you noticed, but I did fire off torpedoes right after I died.
I did, so you will most likely get a flesh wound. Well, I say that as I see two ships that are sailing away from that salvo. Oh, never mind. Actually, yeah, you might only get one hit. Yep, one. And obviously the Massachusetts isn't going to take it. So you fired basically in between all of them. Well, that's alright, you got something out of it. Weekend Warrior, what's up? XS Square T, thanks for the follow.
think I stick around and watch the match.
Looks like you do, yeah. Which is good, which is good. T-Bone, no COTS today. COTS is tomorrow for EU, and then
And I'm
for...
very interested in the bridge of this buffalo.
See that. And then for North America, it's going to be on
Das
Sunday.
gegnerische Team steht kurz vor dem Sieg.
Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., sorry, 8 a.m. Central Standard, so 9 a.m. Eastern Time is when COTS EU starts. Right here on this channel, I'll be broadcasting with Puddin. And don't forget, there are special drops and things that you can get. You have to be watching for a total of 3 hours, though. I think it's 3 hours, or is it 2.5, something like that.
Das gegnerische Team hat die Führung übernommen.
You are. You must have tabbed out or something, or maybe you're just like looking at his butt.
I think I was tapped out at that point, but
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's speed the replay up.
Gefecht endet in 5 Minuten.
Not looking good for your team. And that's game. Hey, Gaelic! Thank you for the sub, dude. The resub. 5 months in a row, 1.5 years. Appreciate it, my dude. Stalwart, it is over the course of the weekend. So if I were you, I would plan on watching COTS for 3 hours between Saturday stream and Sunday stream. All right. That's what I would do. I would plan accordingly. Yeah, pushing your battleship into B cap tends to be a death YOLO. It can be. All right, where are we at? Here's the part. Okay, so here's the part where you're kiting away. Let me restart the replay because sorry, I was distracted for a sec typing. So it did turn out it was the Atago at A. I still felt like it was very aggressive to push that deep early on without knowing where the enemy destroyer would be. And like, who else is right on your side? Pausing it here. Your Yoshino is stuck bow in. I mean, there's 2 battleships there, plus the Alaska. He's boned. He's already screwed. He can try to get behind the island and turn out. I think that's what he does, but he gets hammered doing so, takes a torp as well. Your Iwami and you need to turn out as soon as possible. But I think you fixated on that Alaska, and then you start turning out. There's the Yoshino getting smacked.
actually the first set of torpedoes I fired was at the Alaska.
Looks like it. The Iwami now is stuck bow in. Can't move. He's doomed to die a long, slow death by fires because of where he is. So you use this as an opportunity to kite away. Now here you turn back in. I think again you're better off instead of turning back in, you stop and you reverse. Because you could have stopped and reversed here, and then if you knew you were in trouble, you could just W out. Instead, you turn south again. So you're putting yourself in a position where you can be shot at very easily once more. You're detected. And you turned out. And right there, you got shot. You didn't lose a ton of hit points for it. You're fortunate that the Iwami was right there getting shot at, right? If the Iwami wasn't there, you would have been shot at a lot. Same thing with the Yoshino, honestly, at the beginning. So here, again, I would kite away, but only at like a quarter speed. Maybe get out of the secondary ranges of the Schlieffens, right? But other than that, like right about there. Okay, look at the line. You, Yamato, Riga, Kremlin. You're all forming a line there, right? Think about it that way. And there you are in a full line right there. That's again when you stop in reverse. Continue. Now, I want you also to think about if you didn't run away at full speed here, the Kremlin might have felt more confident sitting there sticking their nose out and getting shot at, because now it's you, the Yamato, and the Kremlin. But because you're running away, and because the Riga's running away, the Kremlin is just going to back out because he's being hardcore focused. You see why that line is so important?
Yeah.
Also, you'd have more shots on that Ignacio. And later the Atago when he turns in there. Again, you're turning in so that you can shoot things because you're so far away now. Oof, your share got stuck bow in too. It's the Dirty Water song. No dirty water today, though. This is a sponsored stream, of course. 202 bits. Thank you very much, I Can't Swim. Appreciate that. Cheers, dude. There was your opportunity right there. You missed it. Went the other way. Kremlin should have waited moving back. I don't know what you mean by that, Dutch. Lariga doesn't know what to do. He's coming back out trying to make something happen now. You go right into be literally in front of the guns of the Alaska, the Schlieffen, the Massachusetts, and very possibly the other torpedoes from the other Schlieffen. While Rob kited away at full speed, the Kremlin could have stayed at the corner. Yes, he could have, but again, let's look at the Kremlin after this. There you go. All right, let's look at this again. Hi, Zarium up. Let's focus in. I'm gonna try to zoom it. Can I do that? Because of the fact that I have this outside, it's kind of hard for me to... I guess I can do that. I want you guys to look at this Kremlin position. And then I see that the comment grunty about the Yamato. We'll talk about the Yamato in a second, but look at the Kremlin. The Kremlin sees all of this down here and rightfully turns bow towards the beef. Smart decision. Very smart decision on the part of the Kremlin. Now, Kremlin slows down. And I would say rightfully so. There's no reason to come farther forward and expose yourself to torpedoes through this channel, shots from a battleship over here, etc., etc. But watch what happens right here. The Kremlin has decided they want no part in this. They've already watched two teammates die here. You're running away. The Riga's running away. Why stay there? Kremlin shooting again. At this point, you formed your line, but 2 of you are leaving. Kremlin has no idea who's where. Now they're starting to shoot again at the Riga because the Riga showed broadside. Kremlin, move forward again. Try to do the bow tank thing, which is great. But his teammate just left him behind, and you are continuing to run away. So the Kremlin is saying, why do I want to take a battle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships? Would any of you want to do that? I wouldn't. It's 5 ships on this side. Actually 6 if you count the other battleship down here. I think that's the Marlborough. And it's 3, soon to be 2. Exactly. Nobody is spotting. That's the problem. That's the problem. So because nobody's spotting, he's expecting these guys to run straight north, right? And chase. If that's the case, then they come right into his face and then he can shoot them all they want. They don't do that. They don't play the Kremlin's game. Instead, they stop, they don't chase the Yamato, and they turn in. Look at the Kremlin, got a nice shot there on the Schlieffen. He's actually in a really good spot to punish this push as it comes around the corner, but it all stops. Which makes sense from the enemy's perspective. Why would you push knowing a Kremlin is on your broadside? Look, he peeks forward again. But again, there's no spotting. That's why I was talking about if Rob had gone right instead of left here. If he had gone right instead of left in front of the Kremlin, I guarantee the Kremlin would have followed you. Guarantee it. The way the Kremlin's been playing, he's supporting. Little shooting action there. But because you turned in this way, the Kremlin's like, well, why do I want to come out in front of everybody? And then nobody knows what to do anymore. Shima goes in the middle. You go into the middle. The Kremlin keeps backing up, trying to get shots of things in the middle because, well, that's what they've been doing this whole time. Riga moves forward. Buffalo moves forward. All right. Let's talk about the Yamato. I actually agree with what the Yamato did. I disagree. I don't think he's terrible. Watch what the Yamato does. That's his only fault, SAT. He kited too far. But the thing is, I want to go back to what I said to Rob. He didn't have to kite away that far if Rob stayed where he did.
It's a Yamato. Did he really kite too far? He should have range across the map.
That is also true. I mean, if you think about it, we're going to see in a little bit. He, again, go into his mind, he watched Yoshino die to everyone. He watched an Awami die to everybody, and he's looking at you, Rob, just running around right in front of the enemy like, shoot me next. If you're the Yamato player, would you want to sit here at this point and just wait for his turn to be focused down? Hell with that. I think his idea of turning north and heading towards the corner makes perfect sense. The problem is he's expecting the Massachusetts, the Schlieffen, the Alaska to push. Right here. Right frickin' here. Rob, stop. Maybe even start reversing. Take advantage of shots. If you don't see anybody, you can continue to back up. You can continue to go backwards. I can't swim, dude. Thank you for paying for 3 months in advance, dude. Really appreciate that. Giving Stevie some love. Remember, I owe you replays. If you want to replay one of yours done, put it in the Discord or whatever. We'll do that for the next 3 months. All right, nothing will focus him down quickly. That is true, Grunty. But at the same time, again, he just watched 2 of his teammates die pretty much instantly. It's you know, I don't know what the game clock is, but anyways, it's 6 minutes into the game. Again, yeah, I agree with you, Dutch. If Kremlin had been more aggressively placed there, sure. But look at how the enemies reacted to the Kremlin. They didn't play the Kremlin's game. They didn't advance on the Yamato. They didn't, and because in doing so, the Kremlin actually had a brilliant broadside shot on them as they pushed. But again, I think Rob's the key. Rob can be spotting people. He can be secondarying things. And if he's in trouble, he can kite away. And in my opinion, that makes the Kremlin feel more comfortable being up in front. And that makes the Yamato feel more comfortable as well. Let's continue watching. Look, the Yamato even turned back in here for a shot. On a bow on Schlieffen, did nothing, unfortunately. But he's continuing to shoot targets. Actually gets a good shot there on the Massachusetts. He's turning, so he's going to flip his guns. He's going to run into the land. Honestly, he would have been better to beach and then back up. I think that's the main mistake that Yamato made, because in doing so, he takes his front turrets out of the game for so long.
Well, I mean, he did looks like it chunked the Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. He did.
I mean, you got 3 secondary ships just YOLOing at him at what it looks like. And anybody to help him just literally left.
I gotta jump in here. Look at the grid squares here. None of these secondary battleships have range in secondaries here. There is no need to kite back to keep the distance for the secondaries. And SAS wants Roblox to spot in the Rupprecht. The Schlieffens will tear him apart. Because if Rupprecht needs to spot the Schlieffens, he's gotta be in the secondaries. The Yamato just should have stayed in the position here and hold that beeline firm. If those secondary battleships push up to try to get into the secondary range, the Kremlin has the shots. But the Yamato kited so far back that all these ships that are currently in E1 are actually dark. The Yamato should have kept them spotted. Not the Yamato.
How is the Yamato going to keep him spotted?
The only way the Yamato keeps him spotted is by being shot at. Everybody has left him.
Yep.
So what? He's a Yamato.
And the Emmys burn just as fast with 4 or 5 fires. Right? It just takes one of these guys to load HE.
Who's...
Mm-hmm.
Right? They know the Kremlin's there. They clearly, hindsight, weren't going to push into the Kremlin. The Emmys far enough back to where he can preserve health. And if he takes a shot, he himself can go dark because...
Mm-hmm.
No,
who's over here? Keep everything spotted.
You can make the decision to leave on the Yamato if you actually get shot at by HE if these Schlieffen switches. Until that happens, the Yamato has to hold that line.
So, and I've done that with my Yamato. I sat basically at the edge of a cap at one point, and with everyone shooting at me, and it wasn't until near the end of the match that I actually died.
Mm-hmm. The Yamato takes himself out of the battle. If the Yamato lets these ships go dark, the Yamato isn't shooting anything either.
So you'd rather he sit there and get shot at by 5 enemies.
But a fair point is, so did Rob. And the Kremlin's not coming out the spot. Nobody's coming out the spot. So you can't just blame the Yamato.
Right. Everybody is playing for themselves.
If I was that Yamato, I would be like, my team left me.
Be the one getting focused. It's much better the Yamato gets focused than it's Rob, because it's a Yamato and not a freaking Rupprecht.
But again, it's not sit there and get focused. It's sit there and be a threat and make the Kremlin and Yamato feel that he's there too. With him leaving, with the Riga leaving, it's 5-on-2. If the Kremlin stays and the Yamato stays, do you want those odds? Who has the best concealment?
I know focus fire gets you killed quick. I don't care what ship you're in.
Damn right.
You're dead. I don't care what you are. I don't care how much health you got.
Who's got the best concealment? Who's got the best concealment? right here.
Schlieffens. Well, actually, what, the cruiser?
On his team, on Rob's team, on that flank, who's got the best concealment?
Oh, Rob does.
Rob does.
It's the Riga, isn't it?
No, I think Rob gets spotted for his secondaries. Riga is just about its radar range, so it's like 12-2, 12-1.
So the point
But
I'm
I mean,
getting
it
at
would
is
be a toss up between Rob and the Riga, but how low is the Riga?
Like,
Like,
Rob
I
is 12,
can't tell.
but the thing is
Rob
you
is
can't control the
12-2.
Riga. So what I'm saying is, if he sits there, okay, let's follow Grunty. Let's follow Grunty's line of thought. Let me back the replay up a little, the render up a little bit. Well, the way this works, it backs it up a lot, unfortunately. But
I mean,
let's
here's
follow.
another thing. Like, pause it here. They have control of C. They have to push into C. C's always a death trap. Why not why not ask the Shima to come over and help? It's prime targets for him. It's a bunch of
Nah, it's
dumb
not.
battleships.
It's not. It's Schlieffen. It's too much Hydra.
Yeah, but you can keep them spotted.
It takes
Right.
I get the idea. Like, the Shimmer is done on C and she'll come over, but on this map, like, how long does it realistically take for the Shimmer to get over?
By the time
It'll
they
take a
cap
while.
by the time they cap A, he's over there, and guess what? They're either broadside or bow in. But it's still better information than keeping 3 ships spotted that have to turn back.
When you're seeing, so if I'm that Shima player and you're seeing Izumo, Brisbane, Azuma running away and Shimakaze kiting away, why would you
And
want
there's-
to push that?
And there's 2 radars. There's 2 radars on your team.
I mean, I get it. I'm not arguing that the Shimmer is done on C. I agree with that. I'm just like, I probably just bring it into B and get that cap, but
Yeah. So
it
a little
takes
bit
a
of
while for the Shimmer to come over to spot this.
So
That's
you
all
know,
I'm saying.
I want to focus on Rob, because Rob is the player. Rob's the one who's got the ability to make decisions on that flank. We don't know what's happening over there, right? Like, I mean, we do, but Rob can't do anything about that. He can ask, but those players are going to do what they're going to do. Best he could do is say, hey, Shima, can you get over here? Can we get some help on this flank? Now, here's that decision point. Rob is being shot at. He's full health or close to it. All right. Let's say he stops right here. If he's not shooting anybody, he goes dark. Agreed?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
And
maybe, I'm not sure. The Massachusetts, he's probably dark, yeah. For all intents and purposes, he's dark.
Right. Now, let's say Rob continues to shoot. He shoots the Massachusetts. In the process of doing so, he's spotted. The Schlieffens know where he is, right? What are the Schlieffens going to do? You're assuming that the Schlieffens would push in and focus the heck out of him, right? Especially with their secondaries.
If I was, I wouldn't. Why? You control A cap. Everybody's in a kiting position at A. Cap it from the bottom.
That's right. And that's what the enemy does. Because if Rob sits here, or even just a little bit farther forward, and everybody decides, okay, I want that Rob guy dead, what do they have to do? They have to push farther up north in order to get their secondaries in range, if they wanted to. If they wanted to sit there and pew away at longer range with their main battery, he's got friends. He's got the Kremlin, he's got the Yamato that can shoot them too.
Yeah,
So
but the Yamato needs to hold that position.
And
it doesn't.
But going back to what I'm saying, if he stopped here, who knows? Maybe the Yamato would have said, okay, let's work on this guy together. Instead, Robert runs away. Look at the Massachusetts right here. Right? I'm going to continue. He's going to get smacked by the Yamato, but look, Rob also shot at the Massachusetts right here. So if you're that Yamato player, you might be thinking, okay, let's work together. Let's get this Massachusetts down.
No, the Yamato is not thinking that, and I can tell you just by the fact that he's already doing his turn.
What turn? Because look, he just turned back in. he doesn't do his turn until he gets close to the island and realizes I'm either going to beach, turn in and get broadside to the enemy, or turn out. Honestly, like I
made
said,
that
he should have
left turn here.
beached.
That left turn here is bad too,
It is,
because he shows his full broadside. Like,
but he's
he
not
should've
spotted.
Yeah, but he's not spotting either.
Yeah, this is where I go to. Random battles is 1 versus 23. There's just 11 idiots who can't shoot.
I think that Yamato was in a perfect position. He could have just sat there.
Mhm.
Maybe even reversed towards the A cap. But
And that's why I
instead,
said if he
he
beached.
did this turn, lost the vision, and then he lost the vision and decided, okay, now I have to turn around and run back. Like, and all of that while still being full health. If you looked at the whole battle, like Rob's team was pretty much equal in hit points the whole game, despite
Mhm.
being down ships. And why? Because they had 2 tier 10 battleships that were basically sitting full health and not really contributing to the match.
That is true. So, like I said, you can only control what you do as the player. So who knows what would have happened if Rob had sat
I
there?
mean, I get Rob. Like, there's 2 Schlieffens here. Like, you don't want to get into the secondary ranges with the Schlieffen because you're in a Rupprecht. You're the tier lower ship there. You lose that 10 times out of 10.
But in that kiting away position that he's in right there, if the Schlieffens decide they want to get in secondary range, then Rob can hit W. And yes, I understand that they will probably stay within secondary range because they're both sailing away at the same time. But if Rob is sailing northward, he's dragging those Schlieffens directly into the Kremlin and Yamato.
He's got enough health to at least keep him spotted to where there's a bunch of resets on A.
Mhm.
Right? Then maybe the Kremlin will take up an aggressive approach. Yamato can just either reverse, but like at this point he's running out of map before he's got to make a decision. And right now his decision is, well, nobody's spotting a damn thing over here for me to shoot anyways.
Right.
Why am I going to sit here and be the focus of 5 ships, 4 ships, even 2 ships? 2v1's not smart.
I wouldn't take those odds unless I knew what I was facing. I could beat both of them easily, like 2 tiers lower or something. If those were Zetans, for example, and I'm that Yamato, yeah, sure, come at me, boys, let's have fun. But Schlieffens, I wouldn't want that. Anyway,
I mean, I get it. Yeah, he should have probably stayed there. But then again, if I'm here in the Rupprecht and I look at my Yamato, my Kremlin, I wouldn't have any confidence that I get the support. Because they
But
have
you know
not
what?
shown that they know how they know that how they. No, they haven't shown that they know how to position their ship and be effective.
I suppose, like I said, the Kremlin I felt did the right thing. They went south initially. They were on the other side of the map. And then they saw the
I mean,
battleships.
yeah, like it's
turned.
not much about the Kremlin. It's more about the Yamato.
Right.
But I mean, at this point, what has Rob done to even try to show them that he would support them? You know how Yamato players play. Like it's been since like year 1. Yamato's sit in the back, right? This isn't anything new.
And as soon as the flank is exposed, they run.
Yeah, like it's
That's the instinct.
it's like spamming AT at a Yamato. That's how you kill it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the flank was kind of doomed. Like the Yoshino way too aggressive there. The Imami dying.
Of
Like,
course.
they shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that tell the Yamato? I'm dealing with idiots, right? Like I can only
Nope. I'm out of this one.
I mean, I kind of understand that. Like Yamato spawned in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. By the time he gets
Mhm.
over to the A cap, like 2 ships are dead there already. So
Yeah. What would you do, right? Well, let me just sit here and join them. You know, that's not gonna work.
I mean, it's a difference sitting there and holding the position and YOLOing in. Like,
Well, but I mean, even if he's sitting there, okay, then he gets caught bow in or something, and then he has to back up. I mean, come on, those guys just walk right over him. Especially with Rob leaving, with the Riga leaving, and the Kremlin backing up.
I mean, there's no point for him to spot the old-fashioned way, be shot at.
Yeah.
Your support is leaving. You're a Yamato. Your turrets take a week and a half to turn. Right? You're running out of map space. Your allies are leaving. This is a doomed flank. Why am I going to die? Like at this point, I'd be thinking, well, it's time to save my PR. Screw you guys.
That's very true. That's very true. Now, I want to fast forward or continue going a little bit here. And now they're all spotted for a moment because they're opening up. Here's the part where the Kremlin starts coming into play. The Yamato is still thinking team play here, or at least he's trying to make something work if he's not. And then they all go dark again.
Yeah, because the Yamato turns out again.
The Yamato turns out because he runs out of room to go forward.
Why does he turn out? Because he's broadside. So your option is turn into them and get run over, or turn out and save some health pool.
Honestly,
if he turned in, that would have gotten better.
I think the best thing for him is...
And he just gets yeeted in half a second.
If he turns in, he keeps those ships that push into him spotted. The Kremlin is still in a position to punish these broadsides.
You mean the Kremlin that's reversing?
He's still in a position to shoot the broadsides. It doesn't matter if he's going forward or backwards in that moment.
You're going to trust the Kremlin that has been reversing, the Rupprecht who literally left you, the Riga who, at this point, better pray he doesn't get caught broadside. Right? You're going to trust any one of those three to support you.
I mean, here's the thing. If the Yamato does the turn he does there, and the enemy keep pushing, the Yamato is broadside to 4 ships. So that's a death sentence for the Yamato too.
You're talking about if he keeps going north and then hits the border and has to turn eastward?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I think his best play would have actually been to beach at the edge of B1 and then reverse, because that might have baited these guys into pushing and charging and trying to get in the secondary range. In which case, maybe that Kremlin slaps. Maybe Rob can slap too, but the Yamato didn't. You know, again, you can't control those people.
Keeping these guys pushing north or even being spotted would have the only thing that saved them there.
Right.
And not to mention the Yamato doing this turn, that's like a 270-degree swing for the front turrets, so his front turrets are out for a minute.
Yeah, it takes him out. Yep. But the thing is, so when he does that, now watch, they're all going to go dark.
Yeah, they're all going to go dark. Nobody's in close to spot anymore. Which I meant, like, the only person now that could still spot was the Yamato, and he's kiting full speed away.
Or the Kremlin, but he backed up.
Or the Kremlin. Although I'm not sure that. I mean, I don't think the Kremlin actually can spot. Like the ships on the too far away on the left side for the spot, and the Schlieffen in the A-cap is probably covered by the islands. Maybe, maybe not. Hard to tell from the minimap. Also, Kremlin is going forward again, as you see. And
he came up and he surprised that cruiser.
But that's the only ship that got lit up for like 2 seconds.
Right. And now, again, he's looking at the Yamato. He's looking at Rob. And he's looking at nobody else in a whole bunch of enemy-controlled area. And I would say the Kremlin is doing the instinctive thing. Now, that being said, I do agree that the Kremlin probably would have been better off sitting there and trying to make something happen. Watch what happens in a little bit of time, though, as that Kremlin continues to reverse.
The Kremlin makes one mistake here. What he should have done now in this position is he should keep backing up, but turning right so he could push forward in the B cap. But instead, he keeps going backwards all the way.
Yep, and he curls behind the island instead of just go. I understand what you're saying. In other words, have his attitude the same as Rob's Prinz Rupprecht, right? Be pointed in the southwest direction and just reverse from a full bow-on perspective, especially since his left flank is completely covered by his teammates. I get that. I agree with you completely there. And it gives him the option to run away if he needs to, or push if he needs to. But again, I feel like he's looking at it very similar to what Puddin was saying. My team, what? You know what I mean? Like he's already throwing the towel
him
in.
at this point. He has all the right team. Like what were we doing?
Right. Atago got the torps off.
You don't blame the Kremlin, but you're gonna blame the Yamato for not wanting to sit there and get shot at. Like you could draw a line, right? Rob's team controls the 5 side. Shit, I'm the Yamato. I'm on the wrong side of this line.
Yep.
Like even if the Kremlin held this position where he was on the corner, like he's not spotting anything from there because the stupid islands are all in the way. The only person that could provide the spots would have been Rob or the Yamato. The Kremlin was in the right position to support, but he didn't see anything because nobody spotted.
I wonder if that Kremlin is a World of Tanks main. Because they pop forward, take a shot, and then back up. Pop forward, take a shot, back up. You know?
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, the Kremlin's not even sacrificing any of his HP.
Nope.
He's got a safe position to where he can go down to 3/4 to a half, reverse, heal up, but he gets shot at and he reverses. We're like, no, I just got this thing buffed. I can't take any damage. But Yami, you better go lose all your HP for my game. It's 1 versus 23. 11 idiots you can't shoot.
I think the Kremlin really only left once he didn't see anything anymore.
And this is what I want to bring up here. When I hit play, this was the other thing I had mentioned to Rob. If he would have, instead of getting behind the Kremlin, if he would have gone towards, you know, Delta 4 Island, right? Would the Kremlin have come forward? Right about there. Would the Kremlin have come forward to support at that point?
I mean, at that point, we can make a huge argument that Rob forgot to turn and just sat broadside to how many ships?
I mean, I agree with you, Thas.
That's a lot of HP to lose.
I think he had to go towards A again, like at this point.
Even the Yamato at this point.
Because going behind this island, like if he goes behind that island as he does right now, like nobody's gonna spot anything.
No.
And then
he's
you're
part of
gonna
the problem.
pile all through that narrow choke point into the B cap where the enemy is just waiting for you to come around.
Right.
So that was definitely not the correct play. Would have going to D3, D4 worked out better? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe
you never
it would
know.
have. It's hard to tell.
You never know.
This play was going in there was doomed from the get-go.
Right. Right. And the Kremlin might keep backing up because he sees the Atago and thinks, well, there's at least something I can shoot.
You can also make the argument for the Yamato again, like he need to hard turn. I mean, he's turning, but it looks like slow, and get also towards the A cap again.
So the Yamato is turning, but he's keeping his guns side so he can shoot. He is shooting the Schlieffen now that he's spotted.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, though. He should
but
be...
he's too far back. He's too far back.
Well,
like,
yeah. By the time he turned around, I think he was expecting the enemy to keep chasing him.
It's a Yamato. It's a sniper. So he can take damage, but he's got all these guys as broadsides. If not complete, you know, he's got good angles to do massive damage.
If he can shoot somebody. It's like it's like Band of Brothers when there's that part with the British tank commander when he was told not to shoot houses and all that stuff, and the guy said there's a Tiger tank right behind it, and he says, I can't shoot what I can't see. Same thing. We're still discussing the replay, Pac. Yeah, that's because there's so much to this replay. There's so much
I mean,
controversy. I love it.
Put a ton of blame on the Yamato, right? Like we're technically supposed to be here helping Rob, but like to sit here and over-criminalize the Yamato, like unless the Yamato is here, you know, I think we're better off focusing on what we should be, trying to help Rob. get
Mhm.
better, right? Like between all of us, there's probably 15 different ways we would have played the Yamato differently, and it probably would have been better than this guy. But how does this help Rob?
It doesn't.
Okay, speed up a little bit. There's one thing for Rob. Like he got
Okay.
back here coming around the corner.
Or ships.
Have I gone too far? Because
I don't know. It's the stream's lagging behind. Like you launched the right side torpedoes. You got smacked. I think at this point you're done. Turn up to the right and fire left side torpedoes and
Agree.
accept the death.
I agree.
Turning back Thaus in front of the Shima for nothing, that didn't accomplish anything.
I think the Shima expected you to do that too, by the way. And then you didn't.
Probably.
And then there you go, dying and taking out the Shima's torp salvo, which who knows what would have happened, but
And again, like here, the Kremlin, he should be forward into this cap, not backwards.
mhm. Well, he kept backing up to, but look, I mean, he's whatever. When I play warships, and I talk about this too when I look at replays, I always try for team play, even if there isn't, if team play is not going to happen, I still try for it, because ultimately that's what I want to see happen as a player. So that's why I keep looking at teammates as potential people that can help me make the game, turn the game around, whatever. I don't like to look at it and make, oh, well, this is a loss. This person doesn't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Because that's not going to, that's probably not going to help me win the game. It's kind of, you get that defeatist attitude early on. So,
Yeah,
in
you're
any
like
case.
the thing with this is like, in order to make me make a play that would help a certain player, the player has to give me a cue beforehand that makes me confident that he will actually help me. And if I
Uh-huh.
don't get the cue beforehand, I'm not gonna put my ship at risk.
So it's like
And if I'm Rob in this game, I'm not putting my ship in risk for that Yamato based on what that Yamato did that game.
Okay, but
I had no confidence in that Yamato whatsoever that he would support me in any way.
I mean, at this point, Yamato's not doing anything wrong, but he's just watched the cruiser die. He's watching everybody go after an enemy, ignore Rob, which tells me this team believes in focus fire.
Mhm.
Right? I see Rob running away. Like, well, screw that. I'm not going to trade my ship for anyone. Right? You're
I
not
wouldn't.
a div.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that either.
Here's another thing, right? Like, A is lost. A is their heavy flank. Right? The Marlborough, Brisbane, and Azuma come back. Why didn't the Kremlin go support C to yeet those cruisers in the battleship? Right?
The Kremlin is not a long-range cruiser.
They have to push
not a long-range battleship. Like, I don't see how the Kremlin could have supported there. Like,
Go sit at the corner of C. You got the Shimmy out there spotting for torpedoes. Sit at the corner. Look, they're pushing in. There's nothing to stop them.
I would have rather seen the Kremlin, if the Kremlin decides it wants to keep backing up, I would have rather seen the Kremlin bow in north of C, north of B, I'm sorry, at B, and basically say, all right, you guys want B, you have to come through me to get it. That's where, I would have rather seen the Kremlin go. I just checked, the Schlieffens, nobody on the enemy team was divisioned. Which is an interesting thing to think about when Putin was talking about focus fire.
There is a good point that Putin just made, though. Like, his team won the C cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave up on it.
But they didn't win it in a way that the enemy team was done there. Like, they won C, but they didn't finish it. And
no, because I
see in a lot of games.
They kept chasing. And they played the Shimakaze's game. They literally kept running into Shimakaze torps. And the Cherbourg got stuck bow in and just farmed and dead. They actually,
This
his
point,
team
it's
lost.
crossfire.
His team lost both flanks. Like, both sides failed. So, you know, it's what it is.
It's all your fault, Rob.
It's your fault, Rob.
Should have played a different ship.
Should have played a DD.
Should have played 3 ships in that game.
You should have played them all.
But this is the result of 1 destroyer each team. There's nobody else that can provide spotting. So battleships instinctively, I can't shoot. I don't know where they are. I'm afraid they're going to come up on my side and smack me or something.
I thought that is what all battleship players want, not having to worry about torpedoes so they can dodge it out of any battleships. Instead, the game is even more passive as if there were destroyers in the game.
Leave them with 13.5 kilometer torps.
Well, yeah, I don't get what the Yoshima's doing there. It's just, I'm
Well, but, I
sorry,
mean,
buddy.
You've got the Schlieffens to worry about with their torps, their secondaries. You've got the Atago to worry about with their torps, and really good concealment. I mean, there's other threats for battleship players on this. The one thing that I'm not seeing here that might justify some of this behavior more is submarines, but that's another topic. So we should probably cut this out. As Snob is saying, he took a work call, came back, and the same question of who's at fault. So,
we decided it was Rob.
We're gonna blame Rob for everything. Sorry, Rob.
It is his game.
Poor Rob. He's just sitting here like, why did I even send this in? But hey, you know what? This was a really good opportunity to discuss through things, and you just heard 3 different people talk for the past 20 minutes, something like that.
I was at Kremlin. I would have went to sea. Oh, there's nothing but cruisers. I don't care if I'm long range or not. Just learn how to aim. They have to get good all the time. I just got to get lucky once. You know,
Snob says,
sit there with a bunch of Schlieffens, a bunch of secondaries. Hell no. I'm going to see where there's cruisers. I can just sit at the corner of sea and just pop shots at them.
Dutch.
I don't know. I think Kremlin's guns outside of 12 kilometers are pure trash, but
You'll get a.
I don't have a problem getting them to work at range. They don't work as well as I'd like, but they still hit ships.
Anyway, let's move on from this discussion.